Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something a little different. We're diving into one of the last great unsolved mysteries in biology. Not what we know about aging, but what we don't.
Why do we get old? I mean, it sounds like such a simple question, right? But honestly, it's one that scientists are still scrambling to answer. Is aging just a collection of diseases, or is there some fundamental process driving it all? Right now, there are dozens of competing theories, and the truth is, nobody knows for sure which one is right.
Okay, so before you can even begin to tackle a mystery that big, you have to solve an even more basic problem. How do you actually measure aging?
All right, first things first, we've got to get this straight. There are two totally different kinds of old. Your chronological age, that's just the number of candles on your birthday cake. Simple. But your biological age, well, that's the real story. It's the true wear and tear on your body. You can have two people who are both 50, but one might have the biology of a 40-year-old and the other a 60-year-old. That's the number scientists are desperate to understand.
Now, one of the coolest, most exciting tools for this are something called epigenetic clocks. You can think of them like your body's odometer. By looking at these specific chemical marks on your DNA, they try to measure how much mileage your cells have really accumulated. The huge debate right now is whether that mileage reading actually reflects the aging process itself or if it's just a proxy for your general health.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole challenge. I mean, scientists are basically trying to build the telescope while they're mapping the stars. Are these clocks really tracking the fundamental process of aging? Or are they just giving us a fancy readout of our overall health? That right there is one of the biggest open questions in the entire field.
Okay, so with that huge measurement challenge in mind, let's play detective. We're going to look at the prime suspects for what actually causes aging, and we'll break down the investigation into three levels: the whole body, the individual cell, and right down to the molecule.
All right, suspect number one, system-wide failures. Let's start with the big picture. Is it possible that aging is driven from the top down? Does it all start when our body's major systems, like our immune defenses or our hormonal signals, just start to break down and lose coordination?
Take the thymus gland, for example. It's basically the command center for your immune system, and it shrinks like crazy as we get older. Then you've got this theory of inflammaging, and yeah, that's a real word. It's the idea that this constant low-grade inflammation is just simmering away in your body, driving everything downhill. But here's the question. Are these the masterminds behind aging, or are they just henchmen? Symptoms of a much deeper problem.
Okay, now let's zoom in a level, down to the cells themselves. And here, the investigation focuses on two main culprits: these creepy zombie cells that just refuse to die, and the total exhaustion of our vital stem cells.
So think about it. As we get older, our supply of stem cells, they're the body's master repair crew, it just gets depleted. We can't fix things as well. And at the exact same time, we start collecting these senescent or zombie cells. These are damaged cells that are supposed to die, but they don't. They just hang around, spewing out all this inflammatory junk that messes up their healthy neighbors. But here's the twist. Scientists are now finding out they might not always be the bad guys, which, just makes the whole picture way more complicated.
And for our final suspect, we're going all the way down to the smallest scale possible, the molecules inside our cells. This might be where the real damage actually begins.
And believe me, at this level, the mystery just gets deeper. A major suspect is the shortening of our telomeres, the little protective caps on our chromosomes that get worn down every single time a cell divides. Another idea is just the simple buildup of DNA damage from a lifetime of, living. But here's a really fascinating third theory. Maybe it's not the damage itself, but our body's crazy overreaction to that damage that's the real problem. Each one of these is a massive field of research on its own.
So, with all these potential culprits on the table, the next question is kind of obvious, right? Can we actually do anything about it? And that brings us to the wild frontier of anti-aging interventions.
Yeah, creating a real anti-aging therapy, it is unbelievably difficult. First, scientists have to pick which of those suspects to even go after. Then, they have to prove that an intervention actually works in humans, which, that could take decades. And even then, what's the right dose? What's the right age to start? How long do you take it? These are all just massive, massive hurdles.
And this quote really captures the incredible ambition of the entire field. You see, the goal for a lot of these researchers isn't just about adding a few healthy years to your life. They're asking a much bigger, more fundamental question. Can we actually break through the absolute ceiling of human lifespan? The record right now is 122 years, and some scientists are genuinely trying to figure out if that barrier can be completely shattered.
And to even try to get there, scientists are exploring a whole bunch of different avenues. You've got drugs called senolytics that are designed to clear out those pesky zombie cells. Then you have therapies trying to replenish our stem cell populations. And then there's the really out there stuff, like cellular reprogramming, where they're literally trying to turn back the clock on our cells.
So after all this talk about mechanisms and interventions, the how and the what, we're left with what is maybe the most profound question of all. From an evolutionary point of view, why do we even age in the first place? What's it for?
And honestly, this is why all of this research really matters to you and me. The goal for most scientists isn't just a longer lifespan, just tacking on more years at the end. It's about extending our health span. That's the number of years we spend in good health, free from all those chronic diseases and decline.
The questions we've just touched on, they are barely scratching the surface. It's just the tip of the iceberg. In a recent project, scientists actually sat down and compiled a list of over 100 critical, unanswered questions in the biology of aging. We have so much more to learn.
So we'll leave you with this final, really thought-provoking question that's being debated in the research community. What if aging isn't a mistake? What if it's not a bug, but a feature? Something that's programmed into us to clear the way for new generations and, speed up evolution. The answer, for now, well, it remains one of science's greatest mysteries.